Yeah, so here I go. So I want to just tell who regulator is. So basically, regulators are those who are basically for SEBI and RBI, Income Tax Department. These are regulators, basic regulators whom we know. But these regulators are good for the ecosystem and for the safety of public, but they are terrible for businesses. These regulators are terrible for investors. And sudden change of regulations can impact a company big time, and without a time period, it can impact the entire sector as a whole. Sometimes it's good for the ecosystem, sometimes it's good for the citizens, sometimes it's most of the time it's good for the citizens, of course, but most of the time the same thing affects the investors who are there. So what is happening now is the entire gambling sector and the betting sector is going through. That's actually really good for a person who is addicted to gambling and those who are actual addicts. But these regulations also cause a huge trouble. So let's say these regulations cause the people to do it in an unethical means. For example, in case of Andhra Pradesh, when we had Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, great NTR had passed a rule that there won't be any alcohol in the entire state of Andhra Pradesh. At that time, we had a huge crisis of alcohol consumption, which has been exported through illegal means, which was not even generating revenue for the state government. And on top of it, we had to pay additional uh, burden for those who were consuming and spoiling their health. So a sudden change and a drastic change in those patterns will affect the citizens themselves. So let's say if there is a addict who is already addicted to gambling, it's hard for them to change that addiction in a quicker manner. So basically, there has to be some kind of rehabilitation center or some kind of other means of reducing this rather than imposing strict rules all of a sudden. I mean, there have to be strict rules, but at the same time, if you're implementing such a strict rule, what is the guarantee that they won't do it offline and you're encouraging people to do it with the other means? For example, they can go to a foreign or use some kind of, other countries' application to transfer our money. So most of the money is going out than staying in. And there can be a number of apps which will be coming up, which you can ban, but you can't ban websites. So there can be a number of things which can go on, and it would become hard for you to regulate than control it by while increasing the taxes. So this is not my issue that I am in a loss, but I'm made by profit as an investor and a trader. But it is a loss. These sudden impacts will impact the citizens themselves. So we have to be extremely cautious and be aware of history on when we change or implement sudden changes like these, how it would impact the entire country and the population, and also how would it impact the citizens. And we have to be in extreme crucial decision making. I know it is extremely hard to make such decisions, but killing the existing players will create an unethical players is what I feel like. So if you want to ban tobacco, if you increase the taxes on tobacco for ITC, there are illegal cigarettes which are much harmful than tobacco, which will impact the health of people and worsen the health in a much harsher way. So just increasing the taxes themselves don't actually make them healthy or not choose that product. They will choose the product, but they will choose an alternative product. Instead of going for cigarette, they'll go for PD or direct tobacco consumption. So it's basically, there has to be uh, metrics on doing this. Just before elections, if they're regulating these things and killing an industry, that sends a good signal, but it also impacts the other people who are addicts. So a regulator has to have all these in mind before doing and taking steps. I guess they have taken those, but sudden change of these high dimensions of killing an industry would impact in a negative way than a positive way, is what I feel. Now, coming to the topic of how regulators are going to impact the stocks. So, DeltaCorp is one of the stock, and online gaming as a sector is how the entire industry got affected. So, let's say uh, from October 1st, CBIC is uh, is implementing 26% GST on online gaming, which is decent, but I won't say that. And all the state needs to pass their representative assembly, and this is what they are expecting. But I feel this is the scary part. I mean, this is fine for them to do that, but why would I go to online? I can directly gamble if I'm a gambler. I can directly go offline in the other means, or I can use another applications. But yeah, they are implementing these. Next is a DG notice to Delta Corp to pay less tax liabilities of uh, 12 12,000 crores. I know this. I don't know why, but exactly the reasons. This might be fair, but yeah. Then what happened because of this? People who have already invested huge amounts are selling. So he has sold almost 0.06% to Delta Corp and went away from the stock. So they are running right now, whoever are the investors. So this will get the stock down to, I don't know which price, but ultimately, when the liabilities are much higher than the value or market cap of the stock itself, it's extremely hard, and that too in taxes. It doesn't make a fair business at all. So that way, the stock is entirely collapsing. Apart from that, casino operators, yeah, this is one more thing which on top of that they are trying to impose taxes. Yeah, this is all the news about it. So I don't want to, question them much further, but these kind of regulations will impact the stocks. So we have to be aware and be extremely alert when we are investing in such a stocks. So let's say people are investing in ITC, the same implications can also happen to ITC. So the ITC entire business runs on tobacco, which means it is going to directly impact the tobacco business and much higher taxes. Let's say 50% tax. Just keep it that, and then no one will buy tobacco, but they'll start buying BD, or they'll start buying uh, other alternative things which gives the same high, which is much dangerous for the entire citizens. So it's not going to stop, but they are going to shift that. So I don't think we should be challenging the regulators, but ultimately, if I'm not into gambling at all, but the industry has to exist because there are few industries, sin businesses. If they don't exist, people and the crime rate or different aspects of it would be turning, and it will be much unavoidable pain which we are going, and they will be going to other countries rather than the money will be going to other countries, and the same thing will happen. Apart from this, regulators can come in various other things like the state can impose gambling commissions, like Goa and Sikkim used to do that. And now the tourism department can also impose uh, additional things for their hospitality service. And there are a lot of other regulatory licenses which all these kind of sin businesses would be needing. Let's say alcohol, let's say uh, tobacco, or let's say gambling or anything are sin businesses. They exist in India, but you have to be extremely careful while investing in them. So I have invested personally in DeltaCorp. Now I don't have any positions right now, but the stock has plummeted since there is all these news combined. So let's say where the stock is falling from. DeltaCorp is here, and if you see the stock after the July news, the stock fell over 40%. So if you're seeing it's down by 40%. So whoever is buying here, let's say if it goes back, it is almost 2x. So all the entries from 2021 got washed away, and they are in a break even right now. But see, this is the problem of holding sin stocks unusual. So you have to do this. And what are the good things and how do you manage these positions is what we have to look into. First is we have to regularly monitor these and keep an eye on all these things. Let's say what I do personally is keep an alert on these stocks. Whenever there is a news on this stock, I will immediately exit or enter based on those news. First thing. Second is also on the sector, that is gambling sector or this, I keep a track on that. And once there is a good news or a bad news, it moves volatile. The volatility is there. So money for a trader is made on highly volatile stocks rather than a non-moving stocks. So if ITC existed, ITC didn't move for a lot of time. So a trader might not make good money on ITC. So a trader might not make a good money on ITC because it has moved, but it has been stable for a long time, and it is right now it is in the same position. It will be stable for a long time there and then move. So ITC kind of gave a good profit in this moment, but apart from that, if you see weekly charts and other things, it remained in the same position for a long time. So only investors make money here, not the traders. So at the same time, Delta Corp has been in a bullish bearish move since a long time. So if you're seeing here, the people have made money here, people have made money, people have lost, investors might have lost money, but short sellers made money here, and a bullish guy made money here, again, short sellers make money. So it's a completely huge volatile stock, which people or a trader who is in a positional trader might make money or lose money, but risk is to reward is equally high. Now, coming to the other thing. So I had a position in this, and what I do to avoid all this is keep an alert, regulate monitoring. The another things which are is the impact analysis. So how much will it impact? So you have to value the stock based on the impact which is it's going to cause. So earlier, what I have done is when I go to Delta Corp and its valuation here. So if you see how I have seen is basically the book value. When I've seen historic book value, it is better in a good position, so I've entered it. So basically, after this position, I thought online gambling in India is growing, and it's going, and it would be growing in a big time. So these are temporary hiccups which are going to come. So I've invested somewhere around here. But then after this news, I've exited in a good loss. Even though I have exited, I'll show you the trades, but I was actually worried whether it would survive or not. I'm not sure even now. But these kind of scenarios, right, when I've expected it to go to around 150 or 160. When I purchased it, it was at around 180 or something, and I've exited it at 143 or odd amounts. But yeah, then when you see the net block and total assets value, it doesn't compare with the liabilities which are they're going to have in future. So the court case was really big. And if you see the sales themselves are at 600 crores, and the valuation is pretty good and pretty decent right now to enter. But at the same time, because of just this news, it lost its value, complete value, and people are aggressively selling. Now, compared to this, I have taken a scenario where I thought, I would lose around till 150, but sudden price movement, which I lost around 30,000 there. But yeah, that's the position size. So if we can't say anything, I have lost around 20% now. So we have to plan the scenario and also do impact analysis. After that, one more strategy which I actively do is adapt a hedge fund strategy. So I was hedging the position, but I've exited the stock and entered the options there. So this is what actually saved me a little bit, I would say. So now I'm showing you my position. So this was my position exactly. So I have sold a put on 4th and exited on 21st. So I've entered on 3.7 and I bought it back at 6th. So the price was falling further and further. So, and I've also sold this one, that is 210. So I thought the price would go up and make a good profit. And in equity, the same amount in equity, I have lost it. So after exiting from the options, I entered in the stock. So I've entered less amount compared to my portfolio. This is what makes sense here. So I was diversifying in this sector. I don't have any other stock apart from DeltaCorp. So I have a extremely small position. So this position sizing has saved me, even though the stock has fallen further. The other positions which I held in the same month, apart from DeltaCorp, has made enough money to save me from those losses on made that. So so basically, DeltaCorp has given me a good loss in terms of um, that month, which impacted the loss. If I didn't have this loss, it would have been a great profit that uh, in the month of September. But now, uh, these are two things. The next one, apart from, so I'll show you how I have hedged it. So I I was buying the stock even before this. So let's say from July, I've exited multiple times, I guess. Yeah. If you see here, I have a huge position on DeltaCorp. So, so I've entered multiple times and exited multiple times. But yeah, so if you see here, I have sold it. So I have sold everything here and bought it here. But before this, I sold it at 180 and also bought it at this price and also sold it in the above price for profit here, loss here. So it has been a fluctuating market, but ultimate losses around 28,000 in stocks. And in futures, it might be a, a break even, or I am not sure whether it's a break even, but I think it's a break even. Let's not see this right now, but I'll see this later and calculate, and I'll give a detailed calculation on this. But ultimately, it's basically a lost trade for me based on all these other things. So I have to be open here that I know that there will be a loss, but at the same time, I didn't expect this drastic loss. So this is basically a retrospect which I'm doing on DeltaCorp this month, where I have basically made a loss trade on this uh, from here, and I'll just show you if I have this position right now. What I usually do is I hedge the position. So if you see DeltaCorp, I have removed that position. But what I do if I have that position is in DeltaCorp. Again, if I have the same amount of positions, I would always hedge it. Okay, November or October itself. And what is the amount which I have? So Delta Corp, again, I'll go back to the position of Delta Corp in this trade and only go to September month because I held this only in September month actively. So 1000 stock, right? So what I would do right now is in this kind of situation, I won't expect entire recovery, but I will expect a recovery of holding 1000 stocks in puts and calls in an option strategy than holding it completely here. Right now, what I will do is basically if I sell this, okay, if I sell this, this comes with a delta of 500. That is, I'm I'm basically making 6,700 if it doesn't cross more than 20%. That's huge, right? So I'll sell much near now, which is 800. No, this is also not good. So I'll sell something like 1000, which comes close to 1000. Okay. Just giving you an idea on how delta works, but okay. So I'll be selling this, but here is the confusion. So these positions, which are not round numbers, will have less liquidity. So we have to be careful about the liquidity. So if you see the open interest is high in 150, if you're using Sensible or any other software, it will show something like this in the background where it's showing the OI. So there is a good liquidity here. So I'll choose this, or I can even choose this 150. And then if I on bullish on this and I have to exit the stocks, I'll be basically selling something like this, but not right now, of course. So I'll be something like this where this becomes a delta neutral trade, right? But I have to hedge it, and at the same time, if I'm planning to buy it, I will also sell 130. So I'm accumulating the stocks here. So basically, it is a delta of 405, and if I'm not expecting the price to be extremely uh, bullish, then if I say it's not going by 5% this entire month, I'll be making money here. So this is a simple triangle, but people will can have complex strategies all over it. But I believe in simple legs rather than creating so many complex legs and exiting multiple legs in India and in Indian stock market will cost us heavy price. So I'll believe in only having few legs rather than having more number of legs. And also I have to be aware that these stock like Delta Corp always goes for the market limit. So it will always be banned in such situation. That was actually what happened when I took the stock. I wanted to, I bought the stock and I exited the positions, and then I realized I can't sell a hedge on that. So basically, if you see this on, uh, so if you see on 25th, I couldn't hedge the stock and I exited the positions which I had. So what I could have done actually is I could have not given up on this, or I should have sold something closer, that is 200 or something else, which would have given me some money rather than losing everything, but it won't save it. So let's say another scenario where I have the same position that is 2,800 open right now. Okay, what would be the loss? So this is where I was like, at least someone saved me. The market saved me that I didn't have this position, or God saved me where I didn't have this position. So so this would have been my possible loss because I was already in six and then into 30 because it moved. Okay, the price right now, let's see the price on that specific day. That specific day was basically this position 180 minus 143 was where I sold it. So almost 1 lakh loss. So, so I should be actually happy for exiting with 30,000 loss and taking stocks than having an option position. So this is the major difference of having an option, the puts option, selling a puts option where you will lose terribly. So if you calculate with the risk is to reward, this would have been a terrible risk to reward. For example, so how much would I have earned on this trade? So I would have earned around 10,000 on this side if it's above 180, but it's not right. So yeah, 2.05 into so I would have made 16,000, but lost 1 lakh because of the sudden price movement. So this would indicate almost the risk is to reward ratio would be around uh, reverse other way around. 1 lakh, let's say 1 lakh to 16 is it's almost 6 times the profit. So it's basically worthless to hold that option. But sudden fluctuations like these will cause a terrible loss, which is highly risky in terms of having holding that position. But but this is where it is important to have multiple options. So options here, I have multiple positions, not a single position. So one loss will impact huge, but other gains will equate it. So basically, I'll be in a break even. It's basically similar to the concept of diversification in stock, but having diversification in option. But there is also another but. We can be screwed up in multiple ways. Option sellers, I being option writer, I'm open about this that there are multiple ways of being screwed up. Let's say the market is down by 5% tomorrow. Okay, I'll show you how much loss I can incur with that. Let's say here 25,000, but okay, okay, that's it. I didn't expect that less. Okay, okay. Tomorrow, first night, if it's going 10%, let's say 10% market is down and the stock will immediately go. I know that the stock will go down and I am going to immediately make around okay 10%, let's say 10%. So I'll be making 30,000 loss here. So gone into 30,000. And if Chambal fertilizers is down, Chambal fertilizers, I'll say 5%, I mean 10%. Pura 1 lakh here. Okay. And then this is already this I guess this is already in loss, but yeah, I'll give it also the same. So 60,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakhs almost in these three trades is one thing. So nothing here is bearish. So I am in a potential risk here. So I'm just being open that option writers can have terrible risk even here. If you see, I can have almost if the market is down and if everyone is selling aggressively, so I can have around 4 lakhs loss, which is almost, let's say, my portfolio is around this rise right now, but I don't know. So, so it's almost around 10% in a single day is what I can lose. I mean, this is the expectation. I'm saying this is not a reality. This is the expectation of loss which I can have on a single day if the entire market crashes. But I have to be ready for this that the market is going to crash. But right now, if I'm not ready, and if the market crashes tomorrow, I my emotional balance might be affected. So this is the entire thing about, how I retrospect myself on every monthly basis on one stock, uh, or what I've made mistakes. So how can I recover? This is a negative view on, or let's say not negative view, but what mistake I have made and how I'm trying to actually uh, comment on regulators and also my mistakes and other things, not just pinpointing that I have made a mistake. So I have to be transparent here and open here that I am not the only person who is liable for my mistakes here in this case. In most of the cases, I will be taking 100% guarantee that I am, if I'm gaining profits, it's basically market giving it to me. If I'm making losses, it's my own losses. That is, it's my mistake that I have made losses. This is my general theory. But in this case, I have made losses. I agree to that. But it was not in my hands on, uh, you know, punch after the punch, a blow after the blow was not handleable. But actually, I handled it pretty well, is what I would say. I have exited in a good break even, or less with a less loss than having a huge hefty loss is one thing, is what I think about this entire trade of DeltaCorp. Thank you for watching if you're watching this video, and these are my open suggestions on how to, basically retrospect yourself on and improve yourself psychologically when your positions are bad. But I regret, not I don't regret myself taking that trade, because I that was cautious decision, but having much impact later. If I would have lost 1 lakh, I would have definitely had a psychological impact, but not so much, because I used to have that psychological impact few years back, but slowly overcoming that was the crucial part of the entire trading experience. So coming out of a psychological um, balance and being in a much financially a happier situation and doing good and trading is what makes me happy right